All tracks are different, and some give horses a much fairer chance than others. Randwick's a very fair track because it's roomy, has sweeping bends, and a long straight of more than 400 metres. It's the Australian Jockey Club's major track. Although Randwick does give horses a fair chance, the starts at some distances are difficult. Let's look at the 2400 metre start, the Derby start. As you can see, there's a run of only 200 metres to the first turn. Horses drawn outside 10 are at some disadvantage, while those drawn outside 14 are at a clear disadvantage. Let's go back to the 91 AJC Derby. The favourite Surface Paradise in the yellow and blue drew outside 14. He was wide all the way round that first turn. If he'd drawn inside 10, he'd have had a much better chance of getting close to the rail. The wide barrier draw ensured his defeat. In contrast, the 1600 start gives horses a run of 500 metres to the first turn. Even in big fields like the Doncaster, jockeys can usually position their mounts so that they're not too wide on the first turn. So barrier positions here are less important than at the 2400. One of the fairest starts at Randwick is from the 1200. Here horses have a straight run of 800 metres to the home turn. The 1400 start's more difficult. Races begin in a chute off the course proper with a short run to the first turn. Horses drawn wide at the 2000 also have problems. Here races start in a chute at the turn out of the straight. Horses must cover the second half of the turn before they reach the back straight. Rose Hill is the Sydney Turf Club's main course. It has a circumference of about 2200 metres and the straight is more than 400 metres long. An inside barrier is an advantage at most starts and is essential at the 11, 12 and 1300 metre marks. The 1200 is the start for the Golden Slipper, where races begin from a chute inside the course proper with a short run to a hairpin turn into the straight. Here the runners are on their way in the 91 Slipper. The field was smaller than usual. Even so, you can see the problems faced by jockeys on horses from a wide barrier. Watch Canonise wearing blinkers and a white spotted cap. He drew 11, and as you can see was forced to race wide. Terse in the maroon and yellow, and Big Dreams in the grey and white drew inside barriers and had much better runs. Terse goes on to win clearly, but Canonise would have made the finish very close from an inside barrier.
Terse wins the Slipper. Terse beat Canonise. Third, Big Dreams. Fourth, Bionnet, who ran a...
Canterbury is the Sydney Turf Club's second course. It has a circumference of only 1,500 metres and the straight is only 300 metres long. Despite many modifications in recent years, Canterbury is still a small, saucer-shaped track with sharp turns. It's a course for horses which can begin fast and hold a forward position all the way. Warwick Farm is the Australian Jockey Club's second course. It favours speedy gallopers who can be close to the lead. Horses coming from behind are often forced wide. Flemington has a circumference of more than 2,300 metres with a home straight of about 450 metres for all races beyond 1,200. The feature is a long chute, which is an extension of the home straight and gives horses in 1,000 and 1,200 metre races a completely straight run to the winning post. Flemington has one sweeping turn into the straight and one tight turn out of the straight. Despite its wide open spaces, there are several starts where a wide barrier draw is a serious disadvantage. Take the 2500, the start for the Victoria Derby. There's a run of only 200 metres to that tight turn, which takes horses past the 2000. Horses drawn outside 9 are at some disadvantage, and those drawn outside 13 are at a clear disadvantage. This is the start of the 1990 Victoria Derby. Watch the horses drawn wide and see how hard it is for jockeys to get across near the rail in this big field of 18. It's worth remembering that in this race, no horse drawn outside 10 finished in the first 6. Contrast the 2500 with the 3200 metre start, which is of course the Melbourne Cup start. There's a straight run of 900 metres to the first turn.
They're set, racing.
They're off in the 1990 Melbourne Cup. Again, watch the horses drawn wide and see how much easier it is for jockeys to get across near the rail in this huge field of 24. Mr Brooker drew 22 at the barrier and finished third in the Cup, little more than a length from the winner. So barrier positions here are unimportant. They're also unimportant at the 2000, where horses have a straight run of at least 600 metres to the first turn. But barriers are important at the 1600 and the 1400 starts. At Caulfield, there's a rise along the back of the course leading to the 1400 metre start. This is the most difficult barrier for horses drawn wide. The easiest barrier is the 1200. Here horses have a straight run of 600 metres to the home turn. The 2400 start is difficult and is the start for the Caulfield Cup. There's a run of only 300 metres to the first turn, so any horse drawn outside 10 is at an obvious disadvantage.
Light goes on, racing.
This is the start of the 1990 Caulfield Cup won by Citizen, who drew barrier 5. See how hard it is for jockeys to bring their mounts across to the inside rail from a wide barrier. In a field of 18, some horses are forced to race at least 4 wide all the way, conceding several lengths to their opponents much closer to the rail. Let's switch now to the final stages. That's Citizen in the blue and pink taking a winning lead. Water Boatman in the maroon and white finishes second just ahead of Shazura and Donegal Mist. They were the first 4 to finish and they all drew inside barrier 11. At Sandown there's a home straight and a back straight connected by 2 double turns. The hardest start for horses drawn wide is the 1200. Moonee Valley is a most unusual racecourse. It's shaped like a rectangle and has the shortest straight of any metropolitan track in Australia. Although the course is small and the straight is short, none of the barriers are really difficult. Each track has its own special characteristics. If you know your tracks, you'll find yourself backing more winners and fewer losers. You'll find diagrams and full descriptions of every major metropolitan and provincial racetrack in Australia in my latest book, Winning in the 90s. And my barrier position tables show you the exact disadvantage of a wide barrier.